Call to order this meeting of the Veterans Affairs Committee of the United States Senate, and welcome everybody on a snowy, cold Washington day. We're glad to have you, Mr. Secretary, and glad to have Dr. Clancy and all the members of your staff, and glad to have the Veterans Administration at the seat to talk about your budget request and the current pending budget for the United States Veterans Administration. I'm going to open, as we changed the rules a little bit. We're going to do an opening statement by the ranking member and an opening statement by the chairman, and then we're going to let any other member who wants to make a public statement make a closing statement so we can go straight to your testimony and give you all the time that you need to do so. We'll do questions based on the early bird rule, and we'll alternate between Republican and Democrat in that order, so we'll be fair and equitable in everybody who gets a chance to ask a question. And I'm going to be very liberal with the time because I think this is a very important hearing. It's very important for us to understand the department's request, and it's equally important for the department to understand what we really want to see out of the Veterans Administration. So thank you for being here. I thought last night when I prepared my mind for what I might say this morning about the last 2 years on the committee, because it's been a rough 2 years in a lot of ways for the Veterans Administration, rough 2 years for us. There have been a lot of increases in money to the Veterans Administration. There have been increases in parameters. The Veterans Choice Bill has passed, and we're trying now to implement that. We've had the challenges with mental health, particularly with veteran suicide rates, and we've had a lot of other problems with construction and other departments within the department. So you could back up and look and say this thing is a mess. The fact of the matter is you have 300, with your estimate for employees in FY17, you're going to have 305,000 employees in the Veterans Administration healthcare, just the healthcare system alone. That is a big organization, exceeded only by the United States military in its totality as the largest employer in the government. So you have a big organization that could be, and sometimes is, unwieldy. We as a committee want to try and make it work as seamlessly as possible. We want the funding to be appropriate but not in the excess. And we want our attitude and the attitude of the department to be equally focused on the veteran and the veteran's health care, not on ourselves. Now to that end, I did a little math last night, and I'm a Georgia graduate, so I might be corrected by some of these people that went to higher institutions than that, but I was trying to figure out the ratio of employees to number of beneficiaries in the VA. There's 6.5 million veterans, I believe that's the right number, who are using VA health care. Is that correct?
Yes, very close. Yes, sir.
Okay, and there's going to be 305,000 employees in veterans health systems if you get the number of employees you want in 2 years.
That's correct, yes, sir.
That's a ratio of 21 veterans to every one employee in the VA. That's a pretty good, that's a lot better people teacher ratio than you have in public education today. So I'm not sure that we have a shortage of employees near as much as we have not every oar in the water rowing in the same direction in terms of those that are following you and your leadership, or in terms of us and the support we're giving to you. I am troubled by the lack of detail in some of your requests, and I want to get into that in the Q&A because I know there's a request for 5,000 more employees in the VA over the next couple of years, and I understand why it's being asked for, but I ask the question, if the ratio is 21 to 1 now, are we going to lower it to 19 to 1, and is that going to improve anything? Because more is not necessarily better in any business. In fact, sometimes more can be more cumbersome than it can be healthy. Secondly, as I told the Legion yesterday, we've had a hearing with the Legion, we had the Disabled American Veterans hearing, and in both hearings, the VSOs made it clear that while they understood veterans' choice, they wanted to make sure we understood that they didn't want veterans' choice to replace VA health care. And I want to repeat what I told the commander from Kansas and Nebraska yesterday at the end of the meeting. We need the VSOs and the Veterans Administration putting their heart and soul behind making VA choice work, not as a replacement for VA health care, but as a force multiplier for VA health care and to be the VA health care of the 21st century. Veterans' Choice was not designed to be a replacement. It was designed to be a help and deal with a problem that existed in the administration in the delivery of health care, in appointments, in timeliness, and in proximity to the specialized care that veterans oftentimes need. So one of the things you're going to hear me say over and over and over again, and I hope the Veterans Administration employees and the VSO leaders are listening to this, they need to get on board and start going forward. There's an old saying that a radio disc jockey in Atlanta had, them that's going get in the wagon, them that ain't get out of the way. That's what we need to do on Veterans' Choice. We need to make it work to address the problems that the VA health care has experienced and get health care to our veterans in the most timely and seamless way we can. And I'm going to dedicate and commit my service as chairman to doing just that. And I close my remarks by, I've got my coins for the members, by the way, which they'll be getting when we come back next week, that have the IDWIC acronym on it. I do what I can to help the veterans' health care. We want you to do what you can to make it work for us. I welcome you today. We look forward to your testimony, and I'm pleased to turn to the ranking member, Senator Blumenthal.